Testing.
Testing. All right, Shalom Israel, Shalom Yabashim Yashab Rakatham, Shalom Hawshamal Bashim Yashai to the sisters. We at the ISUPK Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Jeremy Hanna, and we are not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite group. And we bring the truth that all so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans of the Western Hemisphere are God's chosen people. We are the true biblical Israelites that the Bible speaks of, and that Esau is the devil. The so-called Europeans today, they are the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
So now, today is going to be a very interesting class. So we're going to be going over World War III. We're going to be going over things that are happening in the earth right now that are starting to become a very big, I don't want to say issue. It's really an issue for Esau,
Right.
realistically. But this is all prophecy. We've known this for generations now. And this just goes to show again that the Bible is real, because the Bible is the only thing on the entire face of the earth that has prophesied all of the events that have happened in the earth.
Right.
They tried to deny that the flood happened, that the ark was built. They found that out to be true. They tried to deny that there were Black Hebrew Israelites in Egypt. They found that out to be true.
Right.
Now, we've been talking about it for quite some time. I know, Esau tries to distract us with TikToks and Instagram and all this other stuff. But for those of you who have been paying attention, war is on the horizon, and there are very big changes that are happening and have been happening for quite some time in the earth. There's a power struggle between the nations. And we're going to go over what's happening. What does this mean for you as a so-called Black, Latino, and Native American, and what you should do in this time? So with that being said, you got anything else before we go?
I'm ready.
All right, so with that, we're going to begin with the prayer. So Ahmadi, this means the brother up here, please stand. Sorry, it's me. Sorry. Which means to Israel in the Hebrew. Sorry, it's me. Sorry. Sorry, it's me. Got it. All right, sorry. Amadim upon Yahakwadam, which means to rise or stand and face the east. We're going to begin with the Lord's Prayer. Brothers, remember to have your heads uncovered. Sisters, remember to have your heads covered. We're doing the prayers, and when you're in class, we're going to start with the prayers. The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Dash, Ayah, Shukah, Yahweh, Malakah, Taba'ah, Zak, Ayah, Asha, Ratzah, Hawa, Ayah, Shemayim, Abanawa, Come, call, you won. What's the lock now? That's a lock now. But a sidewalk, a ball, how shy now, my young, ride, kaya, the cup, hamalakwa, wa'ala, tapara, la'alumium, aman.
The Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day, our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Amen.
Hakak, which is the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Bakashah, Nathanaw, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Call, Matalah, Madawa, Natahar, Ha, Matazariah, Hakak, Lahakwai, Hamathia, Hakak, Al, Rakawah, Tama'ala, Garshun, Yahushai, the water, Aman.
The power in the English, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In
Shai.
the name of Yahweh Shai.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
The power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse.
The power to cleanse.
The lepers. The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the
The
dead.
power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
Cast them out.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Wa Miyaka Allah. Wa Alahayim.
Walahayim.
Matazab Ya'af.
Zaba'ah.
Alawak Yahal.
Alawak Yahal.
Ha'alawak.
Alawak.
Hasarunya.
Hasarunya.
Hakpatazayonya.
Wasazoyonya.
Hakayayonya.
Yonya.
Waha
Wahawaki.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
For water.
Water.
Amen.
Amen. The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Command the general Yahweh.
The man of Germany Yahweh.
The generals.
General.
The captains.
Captain.
The officers.
Officer.
The troopers.
Trooper.
And the sisters.
And sister.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In the
Shai.
name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Yenya.
Yanya.
All. Ahoyim.
Ahoyim.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Yaba'ah.
Yaba'ah.
Zoya.
Zoria.
Zoya.
Zoria.
Ayin.
Ayin.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shah.
Basha.
Shemayim.
Shemayim.
Baratazah.
Baratazah.
Thun.
Thun.
Watts.
Watts.
Zorka.
Gorka.
All. Yelawam.
Yelawam.
Shemarka.
Shamarka.
Anah.
Anah.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yelawam.
Yelawam.
Bala'ah.
Bala'ah.
Yeshun.
Yeshun.
Shalmor.
Shamor.
Yasha'allah.
Yasha'al.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shemarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Zorka.
Zorka.
Yad.
Wayad.
Yenkah.
Yenkai.
Yewamam.
Yemamam.
Hashemash.
Hashemash.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yakakah.
Yakakah.
Bayrak.
Barak.
Delilah.
Bala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shemarka.
Shamarka.
Call.
Call.
Rai.
Right.
Yashmor.
Yashmor.
Athapashka.
Pashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashmor.
Yashmor.
Taza'af.
Taza'af.
Wabba wa'af.
Wa'af.
Maida.
Maida.
Wa'ai.
Ba'ai.
I will love.
I will love. Psalms 121 in English. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills.
I will lift my eyes to the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help comes from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall not slumber
shall neither slumber
nor sleep.
nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right
The
hand.
Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve
The
thee
Lord shall preserve
from
thee
all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy
He
soul.
shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in.
from this time
From
forth
this time forth
and even
and even
forevermore.
forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim. All. Tamiyah. Lakah. All. Takarash. All. Shakwat. All. Kaya. Anah. Yedika. Yahama. Yawan. Ra'ash. Ayel. Makah. Ya'imon. Sawadah. Waita. Tazawah. Ayel. Tazapawunyika. Moa. Lakawa. Makakidu. Goya. Wala'ah. Zakar. Shum. Yasha'al. Abudah. Kaya. Nawa. Tazawah. Labat. Yakabu. Alika. Baryath. Karathwa. Ahoyan. Adawam. Wa. Yashma'ali. Abu. Wahagoyan. Bal. Wangwan. Wangalak. Alashaf. Amishabi. Tazawar. Gum. Ashawar. Nalawa. Aiman. Awa. Zarwai. Labanya. The Watts. Salah. Aisha. Laham. Kamanya. Kasaya. Sara'ah. Kabayam. It's like on the call. Yashwan. Shah Moab. Bayan. Rak. Iwa. Daman. La'adama. Shaitam. Nada. Yamawa. Kaira. Kaza Abu. Kaza Bat. Kaza Zormana. Call. Masa Yakamwa. Shor. Mora. Layer Shut. Wa. Af. Nawaf. Alahayah. Shaitam. Goggle. Quash. Lapanya. Raka'a. Ka'ash. Yair. Wa. Kalaba. Kalahat. Aryam. Kun. Daradama. Sa'iruka. Wabasak. Pafka. Tabahalam. Wala'ah. Panyaham. Kwalawan. Waya. Lakwashwa. Shimka. Yahawah. Yabashka. Waya Bahol. Adi. Waya Kaparo. Waya Ababa. Waya Dayawa. Kaya. Atha. Shimka. Yahawah. Labaka. Aliwan. Alcohol.
Psalms 83 in English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O God.
And be not still, O God.
For lo,
thine
enemies, make a tumult. And they that hate thee, have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel. Against thy people. And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off. From being a nation. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together. With one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. And the Ishmaelites. Of Moab. And the Hagarenes. The Baal. And Ammon. And Amalek. The Philistines. With the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites. As to Sisera. As to Jabin. At the brook of Kison. Which perished and endured. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb.
Make their nobles like a red.
And like Zaid. Yea. All their princes as Zabah. And as Zalmunna. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. Oh my God. Make them like a wheel. As the stubble before the wind. As the fire burneth the wood. And as the flames set the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest. And make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame. That they may seek thy name. O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea. Let them be put to shame and perish. That men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth.
Sorry, excuse me. All right, maybe seated. All right, so today we're going to be reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 6. We're going to be going through chapter 6, a little bit of chapter 7, and we're going to be going over the times of Noah and how this relates to today, right? So we're going to be starting with the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 1 through 7 in the Hebrew, and then we're going to give the breakdown in English. Let's see. Yahweh, nice one. It's like you. Yahweh, Ka'ah, Katha'ah. Let's see. Hadam, La Rab, Il, Panya, Hadama, Yama, Manyaaf, Yalad, sorry, Yalad, La'am, Ra'ah, Manya, Hala, Ya'am, Af, Kanyaf, Hadam, sorry, Adam, let's see, sorry, Kaya, Tabath, Hanya, Yanakwa, La'am, Nashayam, Maka'ah, Ashar, Kara'a, Laya Ma'a, Yahweh, La'a, Yadan Naaz, Kaya, Badam, La'am, Kashapa'am, Anya, Kasha'ar, Kayam, Yama'ad, Ma'a, Ya'ai Shana, Shanya, Hapalayam, Haya, Harai, Kaya Ma'yam, Ha'am, Yadam, Karai, Kaya, Ashar, La Ba'am, Kanya, Hala Ya'um. It's like, no, Salakia Alahayim, Salakia Alahayim, all Kanya, Ada'um, Ya Lada'a, La'um, Hama'a, Haga, Haga Ra Ya'um, Shor, Ma'ai La'um, Anashia, let's see, Asham, Ha Ya Ra'a, Yahweh, Ka'a, Ya, it's like Raka'a, Ra'aith, Adam, Ka Ra'ai, Yep, Aba'al, Yatazar, Makasha Ka'am, La Ka'a, Ra'ag, Ra'ai, all, that's like Ka'al, Asha Ya'am, Kan Na Tha'am, Yahweh, Ka'ai, Asha, Af, Yada'am, Adam, so like Ka Ra'ai, Ya, Yaka, Ya'athai, I thought, it's like you say, Ya, Thaitazab, I'll, Lama'a, Ka, it's like Ya, Ma'ar, Yahweh, Maka'a, Af, Ka, it's like Adam, Ashar, Kara'ath, Mile, it's like Mile, Panya, it's like Adama, Mad, it's like Madam, Id, Ma'a, Id, Ramash, so Id, Ayun, Ashara'am, Ka'a, Nakama'athya, Ka'a, Aishayath, Aishayatham. All right, that's it. All right, so we're going to start from the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 1 in the English. What is that?
The book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old.
All right, so we'll stop right there just so we can do a brief little recap. So there's a couple of verses in here, right, quick. All right, so it says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and that they were fair. So there's a distinct difference with this, right? It says the sons of God saw the daughters of men. For those of y'all who might know, this is talking about interracial marriage. This is talking about these were men that served the Most High at the time. These were not, some people get confused with this. These were not Israelites yet.
Right.
Israel did not exist at this time, but there was a nation of men who served the Most High. So even before us, before Israel came about, before our forefathers came about, way beyond that, the book of Genesis, because Genesis does mean it does mean in the beginning. This is the first book of the Bible, right? It's the beginning of everything. There were the men that served the Most High, and they went on to the daughters of men. It doesn't say the daughters of God, the daughters of men, meaning that these were, in a sense, worldly men. This is alluding to interracial marriage. It says that they were fair, meaning that they were pretty, they were beautiful, they were attractive women.
Right.
And they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. So at this time, you got to understand, this is before we had like prescriptions and like man-made medicine and stuff.
Right.
Our life expectancy was a lot higher because we were like, it was agriculture. We lived off the land. Now it says, there were giants in the earth in those days. Now, this doesn't mean literal giants. This is talking about celebrities, people who were of power,
right?
Kings, stuff like that, right? These were people who were of status, no different than today. We have all these different celebrities, people that we think that are fit to lead us as people. You got something? Go ahead.
For example, the word or the words people normally use are the bigger than life.
Right.
That's a giant.
Right.
Who's bigger than life. When you see him, you're like, wow, this guy, he's that guy.
Right. So you idolize him. It's
right.
an idol, right? So this is, long story short, nothing is new under the sun. This was a different time period, yes, but similar things that are going on today was the same things that were going on back then.
Right.
So it says, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, again, there were men who served the Most High, and then there were daughters of worldly men that were not of the same nation. What happened? The same became mighty men, which were old, men of renown.
Right.
And God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Now this, I'm going to try to make this one brief because there's so much to go over just verse 5 alone. The Most High was pissed. You got to understand, before the laws were put into place, before Leviticus, before the law, statutes, commandments were given to the nation of Israel, we were pretty much doing whatever the hell we want. Just like today.
Right.
There was no law to kind of like keep people intact. So people was doing what you see today. They was having orgies,
right,
homosexuality, drugs, adultery. That's why it says don't veer away from this. Where it says, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually, meaning there was no limit to it. Like, think of it like this. You watch a movie, right? There's all types of movies. You ever watch a movie and you always wonder, like, why did they put that scene in there? It's like, what was the point of that? Like, you try to watch a movie, it could be an action movie, I don't know, whatever you into. And they'll show a scene where a woman is like half naked and she's going to the bathroom. And you start to wonder, at least I do, like, why? What was the point of putting that in the movie? Like, the movie would have, that wasn't meant, it doesn't have any significance being in the movie.
Right.
But it's the imagination, it's the perverted mind. It's like, no, we're going to put that in there. For all my brothers out there and sisters, you watch anime and stuff. Anime, the Japanese, I'm sorry, they're extremely perverted.
Yes.
I love anime, but there be some anime I'll be like, you already know what I'm talking about. There be some anime I'll be like, bro, come on. Like, I'm trying to watch people fight. I want to watch people fight, right. A good storyline, war, but then you show, we call it, it's called fan service. You drawing these women with abnormal proportions. I'm just going to put it like that. You know what I'm talking about, right? And it's like, why? Like, I just want to watch people box. Right. I don't need to see jiggle physics in an anime. But it's the perverted mind. They do these things. Matter of fact, in Japan, pornography is like, it's like whatever to them. Like, right. You can go to the gas station, buy something to eat, whatever, and then you turn left, and there's a whole genre of pornography out there just for everybody to see. And it's just open. You go to Europe, I mean, forget about it. That's Esau's land. I remember when I was in Italy, and we just walking. I think we were in the Vatican at the time, and there's a bus that drives by, and it's just pornography right there for everybody to see. There's women, children, and all, and they're just looking at it. And it's like, whatever. It's like you have a very perverted mind. People in the flesh have a very perverted mind, meaning that there's no limits. Like, you will think of the most out-of-pocket things and run with it. So the Most High was angry because of all the wickedness that was going on in the land. So let's keep reading.
So, if I may, I want to touch on that sons of God.
Go ahead.
If I may. At this time, they were the Adamites, you have to understand that Adam got the instructions from the Lord. And then just like any father, you pass down those instructions to your child. We know Cain did not heed those instructions because Cain is a murderer. The spirit of Cain lives on as well. That's another topic. But Cain was a murderer. The son who did understand what the father was saying was Abel. Abel was murdered by Cain. Then they had another child. This was Seth. Seth learned the instructions from his father, which was Adam. And then Seth had children and children and children and children. These men of that lineage were the sons of God. That's matter of fact, let me get that in
Go ahead.
John 1 and 12, if I may.
Go ahead.
The book of John, chapter 1, verse 12. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. What they knew is what we knew. The sons of God knew that they knew that the Lord was real. They knew that the Lord gave instructions, and they knew to follow those instructions. But because they didn't follow those instructions, and became like the sons of men and started to marry the daughters of men. Who are the daughters of men? The daughters of men were the daughters of people that were not given the instructions from the Lord. So anyone that was not in Adam's lineage, they did not learn the instructions of the Lord. Mm-hmm. Just like today, if you're not of Jacob's lineage, you do not get the instructions from the Lord. Right. That is why they can eat pork and you can't. When they eat pork, nothing happens to them. They live to be 95. You die at 40. They can. Their women can be whores. You can't. Right. It's who the Lord chooses to give instructions to, and that's what these men were. They were the Adamites. When you start reading the history, you know that Noah, his great grandparent, is Adam, is Seth. I yield.
Right. Now that was an excellent breakdown, by the way. So you pretty much get the gist of it. So let's see. You read. You got 5 still? All right, you can read the rest of 5.
The book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, right, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And if I may, that also proves that the heart is the mind, thoughts of the heart. You can find that in Mark 7 and 21. Yep. Verse 6. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. That was it.
All right, so we'll keep reading, right? So we're going to go to verse 8. Go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
So we've heard a lot about Noah, right? For anybody who doesn't know the history of Noah, we're going to go over it right now. So it says, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Let's find out what happened. Keep going.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
You know?
The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence.
This is no different than today. You see wars and people fighting everywhere. Right. You go to Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine looks crazy. I don't know if y'all been keeping up with the news. Ukraine looks like a wasteland.
Right.
It is ridiculous. But again, nothing is new under the sun. Paraphrasing, things that happened aforetime were meant for our learning. So we all are familiar with these scriptures, right? So this is a different time period, but the same things are happening. So let's read what happens in these times. Keep going.
And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. Verse 13, and God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
So the Most High was so angry of what was going on in the earth that he got fed up. This is why, take this into consideration. Don't ever tempt the Most High. Okay, the Most High was fed up. Think about it, like, he was so fed up that he wanted to hit the reset button. There's a few times in the Bible the Most High wanted to hit the reset button. It's like the same time we was being brought up out of Egypt, when Moses and Aaron was bringing us up out of Egypt, and we're complaining. I always go over this one. We're complaining, oh, no, I want to go back to Egypt. Matter of fact, we were so selfish and ungrateful that even though we knew that there was a higher power, that we knew that there was a God, it wasn't satisfied. We weren't satisfied with it. Right. So what did we do? We convinced Aaron to make that golden calf because we wanted something physical to worship. And what did Aaron do? Sadly, he fell under it, and we got all the jewelry, all the gold and everything. He made this golden calf for us to worship, all because we wanted something tangible to worship. Even though these are men that were sent by the Lord to get us out of Egypt. We were ungrateful. All right, you can keep going.
Sir. Oh, also, if I may, can I go back to verse 9?
Go ahead.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. How does one become just? How does one be just with the Lord? You'll find that in Romans 7:12, if I may.
Go ahead.
The book of Romans chapter 7, verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. Noah kept the laws. Noah got the instructions. Again, this goes back to what I pointed out before. Noah was saved because he learned the instructions from his father. From his father, from his father, from his father, all the way back to Seth, all the way back to Adam. He knew to be a just man, a holy man. How did he know that? By the instruction that was given from the Lord. Scriptures say, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? Mm-hmm. Through the law. The law is perfect. The law is holy. The law is just. This is what's going to save you when this next rain come down.
Right.
So lucky. I ain't going to jump too far.
You good. You good.
What was it, 13?
You were at 13. Let's see. Go to 14.
Come on, so the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 14. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. Mm-hmm. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above.
We are right now.
16.
Jump to 17.
Verse 17. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven. Mm-hmm. And everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female.
Okay, you can stop right there. So now verse 17, it says, and behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh. Really think about it real quick. Just use your imagination real quick, okay? We've seen hurricanes, we've seen tornadoes, we've seen natural disasters. Right. You got to understand something. The earth, let me say that one more time for you. The earth was flooded. The earth, right, that all flesh that the Most High deemed unworthy died.
Right.
All of it, with the exception of Noah, his family, and the select few that the Most High wanted to preserve to repopulate the earth. Right. Now, like you brought up earlier, Noah he had grace in the eyes of the Lord. He was a man of God. Okay, so the Most High saw that and said, okay, you know what? I'm still going to destroy this. That's the part I want to really focus on. I'm going to save you and your lineage and so on and so forth, but I'm still going to destroy everything else. That's what you really need to understand. Destruction, I can't even say destruction's coming. Destruction is here. Let's get away from Ukraine. Now I can kind of talk about what I wanted to talk about earlier. Go ahead.
One more second. So I want to bring this out too. I was having this discussion a while back, And a guy just didn't believe that Noah he had the power to bring animals on a ark. And I really explained to him, this is not new. Like, what you think is a fairy tale is not. Mike Tyson had a whole tiger. He had a whole tiger. A tiger would eat your behind up. But a tiger's not eating Mike Tyson. Why? Because Mike Tyson had power over that. When you go to Dubai and you go to these Arabian countries, people with money, they have little chimpanzees in clothes. The what's the man name? Leo Scipius Africanus.
Yeah.
Leo Scipius Africanus. He won the world's second Punic War, I believe, or third Punic War. Maybe it's the second Punic War. He won the world's second Punic War by riding a rhinoceros, by having elephants. Men can control animals.
We do it. Yeah, dogs and it's not.
It's not far. Yeah, you see, we on Hollywood every week. There are brothers with snakes, and they controlling the snake, and the snake is not biting them. You have that power. There are birds that you can let go that you had. They will come and fly and land right back in the same cage or birdhouse that you had. It is not far-fetched. It's only far-fetched to you. It's only far-fetched to you. But this happened. This happened.
So, if I could really just touch a little bit more on that, y'all don't believe us. Okay, well, believe the person that y'all secretly worship so much. Believe the white man. Because the white man, I actually, what's funny? I just watched a video the other day because I'm on TikTok quite a bit, and there's a lot of the animal videos that be popping up.
Right.
So I saw a video. This is kind of like elderly white man. He has 2 fully grown grizzly bears that he adopted as cubs. And this is I cannot make this up. He's sitting down, right? He's sitting. There's a grizzly bear right behind him. Like his head is right here. There's another grizzly bear right here. So the grizzly bears, they was kind of I don't know, it's fighting for dominance or whatever. They kind of how dogs are kind of snipping at each other a little bit, to assert dominance. You want to know what happened? And it was wild to me. So they kind of bucking up at each other, and he goes, hey, all of a sudden you see this. I believe the average grizzly bear can weigh anywhere between 700 to 900 pounds. This big old grizzly bear, you know how dogs tuck their head when they get submissive? That's exactly what the grizzly bear did. When this elderly white man raised his voice, the bear said, and it tucked its head behind him and got submissive. The other one in front of him tucked its head. And you want to know what the white man did? He slapped it on the forehead. And then the grizzly bear just sat there. And I'm at any given moment, these things could maul you. And there's nothing you can do about it. You ever seen a grizzly bear's paw? It's massive. Their nails, I forgot how many inches long they are. It's ridiculous. But as you stated, we command animals all the time.
Michael Jackson had a chimp.
He had a chimp. There's plenty of people that got chimps. You go to Africa, some of them people, they be having cheetahs, pet cheetahs. Like you said, in Dubai, this is not a zookeeper. You ever been to the circus? Come on. Anyway, you get the gist of it. So just open your mind just for 1 second and look around. This is nothing new.
Nothing new.
So Noah guiding these animals and a farmer herd sheep. Come on now. Come on. Well, yeah, exactly. So we'll get that out the way. You get the gist of it, right? So no, it is not far-fetched for Noah, a man, just like how you see men, even dare I say it, sometimes women today, who command animals. So we got that out the way, right? So now I can get into, actually, know what? Before I get into it, jump down to, go to Genesis chapter 7, verse, go 5.
Sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 7, verse 5. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him.
So he did everything that the Lord told him to do. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Again. The book of Genesis, chapter 7, verse 5. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. Some of it. All The Lord commanded him.
Keep that in mind. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. Verse 7. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth.
Go to verse. Actually, you read verse 11. Yeah.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights.
So I want to paint a picture for you real quick, like just to not breeze over that. It wasn't just raining. I want people to understand that. It wasn't just like rain pouring down. You got to understand. You know what geysers are? Like geysers, like fountains of water were gushing up out of the earth. So it's water everywhere. And I know this might be a little hard for y'all to understand. It says that Noah was 600 years old. Yes, at this time period, we did live longer. We were a lot healthier. We didn't have all the processed food, and the air wasn't as polluted. And we didn't. The earth was very rich at this time.
And wasn't no white people on it.
Yeah. Esau didn't exist yet.
So no diseases.
Yeah, no diseases. No, there was no malaria or chicken pox or AIDS. Like there was no ST. Like the things that you know of today, like these diseases, these modern day diseases, these did not exist at that time.
Right.
So our bodies were free to live in a healthy state for a prolonged period of time.
Right.
Like 600 years old to them is like 50.
Right.
Like, it's like whatever. Yes, it says the rains was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So it was just a constant flood. Remember the earth. They on this big old boat. It was going crazy for 40 days and 40 nights. Just a like you can't see anything. Everything is dead. With the exception of like with the fish, stuff like that. All right, so skip that. Go down to I think it's 16. Go to 16.
Verse 16. And they that went in, male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in.
It says he did what?
And the Lord shut him in.
He shut him in. Okay, you gotta understand. I'm gonna just put it to you like this, right? This is the part I really want to get to. Noah was building this ark for a very long time. Just like how you see us crazy Hebrew Israelites on the street preaching these scriptures that you should be listening to. When we have classes on YouTube that Esau continues to shut down, when we have our clips of classes and camp speakings and us breaking down the Bible on all our social media platforms, and the white man still tries to get rid of it, or sometimes even the Chinese people, I think they own TikTok. So my point being is our enemies try so hard to diminish the word of God, but they'll put out everything else. They'll put on half-naked women. They'll put on drugs. They'll put on us beating each other, and they'll put any other distraction out there because it's really a distraction. That's all it is. They don't want you to wake up. The reason why we say wake up because you're asleep. A lot of y'all are asleep, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You think you got your history, you got everything figured out. You think, oh yeah, we were the great African empires back in the day, and it's like, no, you was in Africa, but you were a different kind of people. For all my natives, you swear on everything that you didn't come from anywhere, that you were always in the Americas, you didn't come from anywhere, where it's been stated multiple times, your ancestors have admitted that you came from the East.
Right. You
came from the East. You migrated here. Yes, you were the first people here. I'll give you that. I would never take that away from you. But you came from somewhere. You are God's chosen people. Why else do you think all the different nations on the planet, somehow you still don't want to believe that you're an Israelite, that you're God's chosen people? Do you not understand that these Europeans, these conquistadors, came over here? This is prophesied in the Bible. You go to Deuteronomy, but I'm not even going to get to that real quick. They wrote books about your practices, your ancestors. They wrote books about your ancestors, the artifacts you had. A lot of your artifacts look like a dawada. I saw Issacharite brothers showed me it was old statues of Mayan empires of Mesoamerica and whatnot, the Aztecs and stuff. And they have a dawada. And people are like, oh, well, that's not what it is. And I question. I'm like, okay, well, what is it then? Well, that's just a coincidence. That's not what I asked you. What is that? Well, even the practices you have, the fringes, everything. But somehow you don't want to believe. You know what? No sweat. Okay, no sweat. Fine. You don't have to believe it. Right. But when we start going to war and you need help, I pray you wake up then, because you're like, Esau's time is short. I'm gonna get to that scripture later, not yet. But my whole point being is you want to deny who you are. Meanwhile, these other people, they know who the hell you are. They recognize, like, nah, you like, do you know how many books there have been out referencing that black people are the children of God? They don't even say Israel. They said that these are the people, like, these are God's. They said these are God's creatures, right?
I got 40 books in there that proves it.
That's my point.
Have 40 books in this. There is a bookshelf next to you that you can't see. There are 40 books, 35 to 40 books in there that proves blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are God's chosen people. It's like, if I make, but why don't you want to be there? Exactly. I can't, for the life of me, like, that's something I just never could understand. Why don't you want to be? Everybody talk about God. Like, everybody on the planet talks about God. Yep. Even if they look at themselves, they call themselves a God. But the true God said, hey, man, no, these people right here, these few people right here, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, if you want to call yourself Latino or whatever. Yeah. Hey, man, these are my people. These are my people. They are the greatest people on earth. Why don't you just be like, I'm going to accept that?
Because we're stiff-necked people.
That's crazy. It just don't make no sense to me. I have yet to figure that out. I mean, there's scriptures that proves it, that shows that you are blind and deaf and you just won't understand. But I still don't understand how you just don't want to be it. How do you not want to be the greatest people on the face of the earth?
A man will turn into a woman before he wants to become an Israel.
That's right. And they don't get mad at them for saying they women. Exactly. But they get mad at you for saying, hey, man, I'm God's chosen people.
All right, a brother could walk around with a wig and a tutu, and he is accepted. But let us walk around, and then it's, oh, y'all look crazy. Y'all trying to steal an identity. And it's crazy because it's been, like, even the white man himself, matter of fact.
Man, there's plenty of videos of Caucasians saying, right here. I mean, black people are the chosen people of God. It's plenty of videos of people saying, hey, man, the Jews left Israel black and they came back white. There are plenty of videos stating that. You choose not to believe it. You choose to believe somebody said you was in Africa, and y'all want to be the kings and queens of Africa, but you don't want to be the butt naked dudes who out there swinging on vines and trees and drinking mud, dirty water, and sleeping in huts. You don't want to be them people. You want to be the ones that you heard of. You don't even know who they are. Here's the thing. Here's the difference between us and you. We know what tribe we come from. We know what land we come from. We know what language we spoke. We know the customs of our people. You don't know. You have no idea. No idea. There are over 50 countries in Africa. All of those countries have at least 20 different genres or 20 different tribes in those countries. And there's over 2,000 different languages in Africa. Which one were you? Just when someone comes to you, just challenge them. All right, which one was you? They're not gonna do nothing but say they Egyptian. When you was a slave in Egypt, the same way you're behind is a slave here. It doesn't make any sense, man. And what you really have to understand, and I really want people to harp, you're not crazy. If you're in the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, you are not crazy. Everybody else around you is crazy. You are not crazy for actually reading the Bible. You are not crazy for trying to change your life. Okay, good.
Salaki.
You good, sir.
If I could. Just to prove even further, I've seen this and I'm just like, I don't know how much forward you can be. Y'all love Google, right? They said, well, Google's free. So I'm gonna read something off of Google. All I typed in was, I'm gonna tell you exactly verbatim. Who are the descendants of Esau today?
Oh yeah.
And I'm just gonna read off to you what it says right here. There is a Jewish tradition stemming from the Talmud that the descendants of Esau would eventually become the Romans, and to a larger extent, all Europeans. Esau, the Edomites, this is why we say they are the so-called white man. Everybody knows. So Or Europeans, okay, Europeans. Well, what does that say about the Jewish people? I don't want to get too off topic, but my point being is everything that you believed in to be true eventually has coming out to be a lie to some extent, right? We're not crazy. We keep bringing this stuff out, right? So where it says that, I'm going to go back to Genesis 7 and 16 real quick, where it says that, give me 1 second, where it says that, and they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. You know why the Lord shut him in? Like, you ever watch like the movies? What was it, the Prince of Egypt? I think it was the Prince of Egypt. And they always like to make it seem like, the other people couldn't get in because Noah was the one that closed the door. So no, it was the Most High that closed the door. He already made his decision. Right. He's like, nope, these are the ones who are going to carry out the lineage going on forth. The rest of y'all are going to die. Right. You're going to die. There's going to be destruction. Okay. Now, what does that have to do with today? Well, how does the time of Noah and the ark and the great flood, how is this all correlating to today? Let's go. Okay. So now I want to talk about, I believe it's Matthew 24 and 6, I believe. I don't want to give it away.
Right.
Yep. Okay. You read that about Shut. Then we're going to get into it.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6.
Go ahead.
And ye, Salakia, if I may, let me read up a little bit.
Go ahead.
3. Go ahead. Let me start in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Mm-hmm. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Read verse 8.
Verse 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows.
So now, before we go, all right, so now I can talk about what's going on in the world. For those of y'all who don't know, this is why I said that there's a power struggle in the earth right now.
Right.
And again, this just shows right here, the only thing on the entire planet to ever prophesy about the things that are happening today. The Bible is thousands of years old.
Right.
Researchers today still cannot get a proper, accurate depiction of how old the Bible really is and the events of the Bible. But one thing that we can all agree on, everything that is in the Bible that has been prophesied has happened or is happening or will happen.
Right.
Now, those of y'all who don't know what's going on in Africa, really it's all these different nations. There's a thing called BRICS. It stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So now, here's the thing. Why are we bringing up these different countries, right? Excluding Brazil, because those are our people too. But all the other nations, those aren't really our people. So what does that have to do with us? Well, all these nations have one thing in common. They hate America.
Right.
They despise America so much that they're like, you know what? The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
So now they're helping each other out. Putin is now helping out South Africa, and now they're getting rid of French colonization. And of course, the Africans, they're hyped for it because for those of y'all who don't know, a lot of the resources that you get come from these different countries, right? We're no stranger to Esau going to different nations and robbing them of the resources. The uranium, which is a very big thing that they fund them of, uranium, gold, iron, diamond, all these things actually come from Africa. So now you're probably wondering, okay, well, if all these things come from Africa, why are the Africans so poor? Well, part of that is due to the curse that was put up on them. You know, the Hamites. This is due to, of course, Ham mocking Noah during the time when he was drunk. And Japheth and Shem, they decided to help their brother. But Ham decided to be an asshole. So Noah cursed him and his lineage, the Canaanites, right? So they've been a servant to the world for a very long time, and they're sick of it, right? They're sick of it, and now they're like, you know what? We are tired of the Western population, meaning us, Westernized communities.
Right.
We are tired of y'all raping and robbing us. You take our resources. You take everything away from us. You take our land. You're like, we've been your servants for generations, and we are sick of it. You know what? We will no longer serve you.
Right.
Because there's one big thing for those of y'all who don't know, whatever nation controls the money and the currency throughout the world, you control the world. So now, what is this all coming to? So BRICS, these nations, right? They're like, you know what? We're so tired of America. We're going to help out each other. Putin is making deals with China. China's making deals with Africa. Africa's making deals with Russia. So now they're all like, okay, you know, this is what we're going to do. We're going to help out each other. And we're going to exclude America, and we're going to devalue the dollar.
Right.
What does this mean? Well, for those of y'all who might not know, people who have been out the country and stuff, the U.S. dollar is worth quite a bit in other countries. I can't give you the estimate for every single country, but just know that your $1 is worth more in other countries. That's why a lot of people, they go to other countries to get stuff, like these rappers and these celebrities. They go to Dubai and all these other places to get their jewelry, their cars, et cetera, because it's cheaper. We don't really see it because we're in America and everything's so damn expensive. But your dollar is worth more in other countries. Now, they're realizing, like, you know what? They have too much power. They're robbing us of all our resources. They got a pipeline in Africa right now to drain them of their uranium. They got their mining districts, taking everything from them. They're like, you know, we tired of y'all. So now, and in Russia, they already been having beef for America. So like, you know what? I'm gonna help y'all out. I'm gonna help y'all out. It's not really genuine, but they're helping them out because they're gaining allies. Putin has been gaining allies. That's why they had their little summit not that long ago. I believe it was in July, and they're coming together. The heads of the world, these powers, are coming together, and they're forming a union, and they have one common enemy: America. Modern day Babylon. They're sick of us. When I say us, I mean really Esau, but we just happen to live here. They're sick of us. That's why I said there'll be wars and rumors of wars. Now everybody's getting nervous. They're like, hey man, inflation about to come.
Right.
For those of y'all who don't know what inflation is, y'all want to know why y'all rent keep going up, why gas prices keep going up. Everything keeps getting more and more expensive. And your jobs and your companies, they're not really compensating for that. Like, you think you make a lot of money now, right? You might make $25 an hour, $30 an hour. Some of y'all brothers, you know, y'all might make $40 an hour. And it sounds good, right? Until you realize how much America taxes you. They take, I know some of y'all got like a 401k plan and all that stuff. They take your money out for that. They constantly tax you and take all your money. So a lot of that money you don't even see.
Right.
But it seems like you're making a lot of money. So like, what is inflation? To give you like a brief history of it, the cost of everything goes up. Remember, in the 1900s, I said countries, sloppy countries, the cost of milk was like, what, like 20 cents?
Right. Gas
wasn't even $1 at that point. So you're looking at it like, oh, you know, I make a lot of money because things are so cheap back then. If we were making what we're making now and lived back then, everybody would be rich.
Right.
But you don't get that because now gas is like $6. Gas is like $6. All right, you got to pay an interest rate on your car. You got to pay insurance. You got to pay car insurance, health insurance, life insurance. You got to you got to pay your utilities. You got your rent. Everything is so damn expensive that a lot of that money that you have, you don't even get to prosper off of it. Inflation is coming, and it's been happening. In case y'all didn't know, everything is getting more expensive, and it's getting to a point that now people are panicking. They're panicking because they're realizing my dollar is not carrying the weight that it used to anymore. And now these other countries are trying to exclude the dollar altogether. They're like, your money will mean nothing here. And it's already happening. They already have their own currency. They have BRICS currency.
Right.
All right, this isn't some what they be calling it, some conspiracy theory.
Right.
This is happening in the world right now. Now, a lot of Americans, they're in a panic because they're like, man, you know, maybe I should just start taking my money out of my 401k. I might not live to see 65 or 60 years old and retire. So I'm just going to take my money now. Because think about it right now. If we go to war, if America goes to war within a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, do you think you're going to have access to your banks? No. And a lot of Americans, they know this. They know that, there might come a time where I might not be able to go to the Bank of America and get my transactions. What's stopping them from taking your money? What are you going to do?
They do it right now.
They can do it right now. There's nothing you can do. What are you going to do? That's why now a lot of these people, they're like, I'm just going to take all my money and have it in cash and have it right now. I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm letting you know what is to come and what is happening right now. This is a direct power change in the world that is happening right now.
Right.
Nation shall rise against nation. Matter of fact, what was it? Ezekiel 9:6. If I could, I'm gonna let you break that one down.
Oh, we talking about
the one
39.
39.
Oh yeah, Ezekiel
39:6.
Yeah, we right here. Hold on, y'all.
You too wild.
What is the 6th concert?
Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 39, verse 6. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am the Lord. Meaning this, man. And I don't know if you've been watching the news, but it's on every major news station across the world. Hawaii is on fire.
Yeah, Maui.
Maui, one of the islands is on fire. You would never think that. Hawaii to us is like a vacation spot. And it's surrounded by water, and there's inactive volcanoes who actually made that land. But it's on fire right now in the middle of the ocean. You can't fathom that. And it is prophesied here in the Bible. I'm going to read that again. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 39, verse 6. And I will send a fire on Magog, which is Russia, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am the Lord. It's happening in the islands right now as we speak. There's a continual fire going down. You can't hide, man. You can't run. There was a story a few years back when Black Lives Matter came about, and this sister was walking. She was in a grocery store with a grocery cart by herself, just trying to get some groceries, as many people do. And when Black Lives Matter started, it was probably like a month or two afterwards when it got mainstream. BLM, #BLM, #BLM. Some islanders came up to her while she was in the store minding her business and said, I hope you don't think, this is what they said, I hope you don't think you're going to be doing any of that Black Lives Matters movement down here. It just goes to show you, you're not safe anywhere. You are a nigga wherever you go. No one wants you to have a sense of pride about your people, about yourself. No one outside of Israel cares about Israel. Everyone is confederate against thee. You can read that in Psalms 83. The whole world came together with one consent that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. You can't have pride for your people, even if you go to Hawaii. And the Lord is destroying Hawaii right now. And this is just the beginning. The scriptures say this is the beginning of sorrows. It's not going to slow down. It's not going to get better. Black people are not going to stop getting beat. Black people are not going to stop getting shot down by the police. Black people, Hispanic people, Native American people will not be discriminated against anymore. Like it's not going to stop. We're going to go through the same thing we always go through. People may ask, is this the times of Jacob's trouble? Jacob has always been in trouble. Jacob has been under every captivity in this world known to man. Egypt, Assyria, Babylonians, Persians, Medes, Grecians, the Romans, which made the Greco-Romans. Now to after the Byzantine Empire, when we actually took over, now back to America. We have always been under the foot of these devils, man. We have always been under the foot of the oppressors. And it's not going to get any better. You know why? This is the beginning of sorrow. You will not be saved until the Lord sends Christ back. That day is the day that you wait for. That is the patience of the saints. That is the faith that we have. And again, the brother bringing out money in banks. You put all your trust in money. It's going to get to a point. It's at a point now, especially we're in California. Man, brothers make $30 an hour. That's literally without taking anything for dental care and health care. That's only $3,000 a month. Let me tell you something. Rent is $2,000 a month. You can't even rent your place unless you make 3 times what it is they're asking for. You don't make 6 bands, and your credit score got to be 650 at bare minimum. There's a problem here. There's a problem here. The problem is you believe in this place. The problem is you think this place is not going to fall. When right now you're witnessing the fall of America. Every kingdom fell from their wickedness. We just read in the flood. The people on the earth, there weren't even kingdoms back then, but the people on the earth, they fell because of their wickedness. Egypt fell because of their wickedness against us. Assyria fell. Persian and Medes fell. Babylonians fell. Everybody falls. Yep. Everybody, if I may. Go ahead. Let me get Isaiah 45:17. Go ahead. Man, what the hell Isaiah? I'm sure. Is it after Ezekiel? When is it after Ezekiel? Is it after Ezekiel? No? Where's Isaiah? Oh, it's early. It's early. Oh, man. There you go. The book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 17. Right? But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. Meaning this, every kingdom on this planet has failed. When you read in 2 Ezra 6:54, we know that, or 6 and 9, we know that, matter of fact, let me get it, if I may. The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. And when you read back in 45:17, it says an everlasting salvation. We will not be confounded nor ashamed. Meaning this world is done. It is at its wit's end. It's on its last leg. It is falling apart. The ones who serve the Lord, the ones who are just and perfect men, like Noah was, who was saved in the flood, guess what? The Lord is going to save them with an everlasting salvation. Meaning this, the next kingdom is ours. It is our kingdom, and it will not end. It's never going to end. You're gonna have a position in the kingdom that's going to be high up. Then you're going to die, and your son is going to have it. No, you're not going to die. You're going to pass away. Your son is going to have it. Then guess what? Your son is going to pass away. Then his son is going to have it. Guess what? His son is going to have it once he dies. Then guess what? You're going to be born again, and you will have it again. That is everlasting life, man. It's not staying alive forever. I don't want to get too off topic, but that is everlasting life. You dying, your son getting it. He dying, his son getting it. He dying, his son getting it. Then you're reborn into the earth. And then you have it again. That is what we fight for here, man. I yield.
Let me get Revelation 11:14.
Oh, perfect. I was actually about to go there about 5 minutes.
And then before you read it, I also wanted to read, this is the Hebrew definition of Magog. So Magog, it says right here, the meaning of it is overtopping or covering. Magog, a foreign nation. And so be careful when I read this, right? It says an anti-Christian party. Now, when we say anti-Christian, don't think of it as like modern day Europeanized Western Christianity. Don't take it like that.
Right.
When this is talking about anti-Christ, meaning against Christ. This is what this means, right? So this is letting you know right off rip the nature of Magog, or the so-called Russians, that era, that region today, right? So let me get Revelation 11:14.
The book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past.
The second woe is past. So you're probably wondering, okay, what was the second woe? Second war. Keep going.
The second woe is past. And behold, The third woe cometh quickly.
The third woe cometh quickly. And let me get Habakkuk 2:12. So it says the third woe cometh quickly, meaning what? Woe means destruction. You got it? Just let me know when you get it. So, okay, go ahead.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him.
Woe to him. Destruction to who? Go ahead.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
That buildeth a town with blood. Keep going.
And establisheth a city by iniquity.
That's your modern day America. Any more on that? So that's modern day America today, right? That's modern day Babylon, because everything that we have was built on the backs of our ancestors. The damn near annihilation and genocide of the Native Americans. The fact that they put us on slave ships, and like it's funny because I be thinking I know everything about slavery, and then I watch a video and I find out something else, and I find out it's even worse. It's even worse than what I originally thought it was. Like there are people like y'all didn't know that they made shoes out of us.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah, they made shoes. They had leather. They made leather, and the reason they said, because black people have such rich skin. They ate us. They ate black people. They had certain plantations for certain things. They had a breeding plantation where they would take a young girl, and as soon as she would hit her menstrual cycle, and like a lot of times, a lot of sisters, they can hit their menstrual cycle at a very young age,
right?
Like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around that time. And them conquistadors saw that and was okay, you know what? It is now time for her to breed because now she can bear children. And they would put her and they would make the biggest, strongest male and they would force him to have sex with her. You want to know what's even crazier about that? Not only was that rape, sometimes the biggest, strongest male was her relative.
Right.
It was her blood brother, her uncle, her father. And let's say that sister grew up and she was known to breed strong young men. Well, guess what? Sometimes they would force her son to have sex with her.
Right.
And make more children. They literally treated us like cattle. You got to remember, at one point we were considered 2/3 of a man. That's the 3/5. That's the 3/5 of a man. That's the 3/5 clause, right? We weren't deemed human. Legally, we were not human at one point, and that law was outruled. I want to say approximately 200 years ago, but a lot of people don't know that. You got to understand what we went through and what we continue to go through. This is why I get so upset when people say, well, black people victimize themselves. You guys haven't gotten over it. It's funny because I saw a Jewish woman do this, right? I got to start saving my videos, man. This Jewish woman, right? And there's this white man, I don't know what he is, but they're discussing slavery. And she's admitting that her people, the Jewish people during the Holocaust and stuff, they got their reparations. And she's breaking down when we got our reparations, I don't think you understand the psychological and emotional aspect of that. It's not just money. It's not that. It's the fact that we were given justice for the injustice of our people.
Right.
They made sure that all them Germans, they were getting Germans who were ex-Nazis. These dudes 90 years old. 90. And they still made sure no, you are going to pay for this. You are going to give us our reparations. You are going to jail because you made our people suffer. We're going to make sure that happened. And now the Jewish community, they have a sense of justice. They have a sense of peace. They know about the Holocaust.
Right.
Everybody knows about the Holocaust. But as a people, they have a sense of justice that we were never given. So this white man is trying to be it's such a horrible things that happened to the Jewish people. So, pretty much why are black people still complaining about it? And she's saying, well, long story short, racism is a system. It's not just there's a difference between being prejudiced and being racist. Anybody can be prejudiced. I can sit here because the Lord is prejudiced. All right. I can sit here and say I don't want my child being with somebody of another nation.
Right.
That actually isn't racism. That is prejudice, though.
Right.
Racism, on the other hand, that there's a thing called systematic racism. As a people, as black people, we cannot implement racism or systematic racism because as a people right now, we have no power. I cannot sit here as a boss or as a person,
deny somebody benefits or discriminate against them,
right,
and not allow them to have certain things based off of their race. However, a lot of companies, they are able to do that to us as a people,
right,
and they still thrive off of systematic racism. We don't celebrate holidays in here, of course, because we're not for that. That's not what the Lord wants. But as Black people, we have Juneteenth.
right.
We have Black History Month.
Right.
We have these things. And even in the times where y'all always like to say, oh, Black people, they always cause problems. There's plenty of times where we just have a barbecue, mind our business, go on about our day. And y'all still got to let us know that we're nothing but a bunch of niggas. You get racist. You start spray painting on the walls. You mad about Juneteenth. What you mad about Juneteenth for? Like, we can't even have that. That's a problem for you right there. My whole point being is the Jewish community, they are able to thrive and flourish now because even though it was a horrible thing that happened to them, and what was it, 12 years the Holocaust happened?
Right.
I didn't even know that until I looked it up. Compared to the 200, 300 plus years of legalized slavery that we as a people have had to deal with, and we still have to deal with the after effects of it. And she's breaking this down, and he's like in disbelief, like, I don't understand. I don't understand, but you guys, you're okay. Yeah, because they got their justice. We never got our justice. We as Israel have never got our justice. Native Americans never got justice. It's crazy because some of them are not even welcome in their own land, and they're from here. Really paint that into an aspect for you, right? You need to understand this is all biblical. That's my point. This is all biblical. The bricks, that is biblical. Nation shall rise against nation. These other nations, they're not us.
Right.
But they understand that Esau, he's a problem.
Right.
He is a problem, and we're tired of him running the planet. We're tired of him being the superpower on the planet. Just like how you brought up the Medes, the Midianites, their kingdom was destroyed. The Persians, their kingdom was destroyed. The Egyptians, their kingdom was destroyed. Every superpower that was not Israel at some given point was destroyed. It is no different than what's happening right now. This is biblical. Russia, Brazil, South America, and like you said, like there's about, I believe, 49 to 50 different countries in Africa, and I think it's 11 to 17 different countries who are siding with Putin and siding with China. Mm-hmm. And they're like, nah, like we ain't about to rock with them. And war is different now. It's not as simple as missiles, shooting all that. It's different. Like I brought up earlier, and I want to bring this up again. Whoever controls the money, whoever controls the currency in the world, you control the world. So now they understand that America, your dollar is worth so much everywhere.
Right.
Right? So you know what we're gonna do? We're not gonna bomb you yet. We're not gonna unleash nuclear warfare yet. No. We're gonna do something else. We're gonna hit you where it hurts the most.
Right.
Your pockets.
Right.
And we're going to make sure that your currency don't mean nothing over here. You have no pull over here. They got rid of the French. The French no longer has any power, I believe, in like Western and some South African countries now. They got rid of that. But now they wave around that Russian flag. Hey, do what you want. I guess that's a medic business. Whatever.
Right.
But they wave around that Russian flag now. And the Russians, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to gain allies. I'm going to gain all these allies. I'm going to get China. I'm going to get Africa. I'm going to get all these different countries. I'm going to get India. I'm going to get the Middle East. I'm going to get Southeast Asia to go side with me. Because at some point, it's going to be like, okay, well, what are you going to do? What is America going to do? You can't go to war with all these countries and win.
Right.
You can't. You have no allies. Everybody hates you. Everybody hates you because more and more, like you brought up in 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, I'm paraphrasing where Esau is going to be the end of the world, meaning that everybody is waking up. Even other nations are getting tired of Esau and realizing, yo, these dudes are the devil. They the devil. Things that you're used to here in America, that's not legal in America. In other countries, taxes are not legal. You can't tax people. That's their money.
Right.
But here, you can tax people. You don't pay your taxes, you going to jail. The IRS, or the IRS will just take the money straight out of your bank account. They'll do that too. And your paychecks will be looking real low.
Real low.
And they understand this. And now you need to understand that the Bible is real. The Bible is very real. You are God's chosen people. Matter of fact, one more thing before I know you got something. I also wanted to bring up now, and I knew this was going to happen. Now, South Africa, I believe it's Kenya. Kenya is now saying, hey, you know what? Now all of a sudden, actually, no, I think it was Uganda. Uganda made the apology first to so-called black people today about slavery. I think they did that a while ago, but now Kenya is saying to all black Americans, hey, you are free to come to Africa with no visa. You can come here. And of course, as Jakes in the world, they all happy. Oh my gosh, we get to go back home. But really think about it. You wasn't welcome before. Think about that. You wasn't welcome before. They were poor.
Right.
Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, we getting some power now. Hey, to all black Americans and black people of the Western Hemisphere, you can come back to Africa now. Do you want to know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like all the other times when all these other nations had Israel as servants to them.
Right.
They like, hey, don't serve them no more. You can come with us.
Yep.
You can come with us. Now, all these, I've seen it. Now the Africans are like, you know how powerful Africa would be if we got all the black Americans and, the West Indians and all them to come over to our country because of the skills that they have. You got brothers who are mechanics. You got brothers who are ex-military. You got brothers who are who work in cybersecurity, who work for the FBI, who work for the CIA. Like, we have these skills, and they like, yo, what if we had y'all come over here and rock with us?
That's it.
That now it's like, oh, okay, let's go with them. All you doing is going from one slave master to another. Because I know some of y'all not gonna view Africans as being slave master. Okay, I'll level with you, right? Who's running Africa now? Because it ain't the Africans, it's Putin.
Right.
They're waving a Russian flag, and now other black people, they calling it out. Some are smart enough to be like, aren't y'all going from one slave master to another? Don't that make sense? Since when has any other country really wanted to help out Africa unless they realize that they can have some power there and get them for their resources?
Yep.
So I'm gonna leave it at that. Go ahead.
Oh no, so no, that's tough. Because half of that stuff I didn't even know. That's why we have this class for learning. I want to speak on the justice aspect of it.
Go ahead.
And how the Jewish man received justice, and because of that, he felt a sense of pride. He felt a sense of security. He felt it, and that is what we lack here in America as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We don't have a sense of justice. You don't feel as though you get justice for anything. You could go to work and do the same job as a Caucasian, but this Caucasian can say something to you. They won't even reprimand him. They just tell him don't do it. You don't feel a sense of justice. This lady, she was 72-year-old lady. She was actually sentenced to prison for 6 months in Minnesota last month, but the story just came out like this week. She was sentenced to 6 months in prison last month because she physically assaulted a Caucasian lady at work. But of course, the sister didn't start it. The lady's 72 years old. My grandmother just died last year at 70. I don't know. She was born in 47 though. So this lady reminds me of my grandmother, and I can only imagine if my grandmother had to go through this, which I'm sure she did. But this lady is 72. A Caucasian coworker, berates her and uses, words that you're not supposed to use. And this sister just was like, she fed up. She was the only sister who worked at this place. Again, it's Minnesota. And she lashed out. She put her little Alabama beating on that girl. And anyway. Alabama is crazy. We don't even speak on that. But that's gonna go into my point. The lady ended up beating on the Caucasian lady, and they ended up sending the sister to jail, 72-year-old woman, for 6 months. Like, they don't care about the young nor the old. That's in the scriptures.
Right.
They don't care. And it's because you're a slave. It's because you're black. They don't have no care about you. I want to get Revelation 13:9, if I may. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Right.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Y'all, I know, man, it is tiring, man. It is tiring. You go out here every day and you feel uncomfortable. You try to get some type of status here and move to a better neighborhood, and you realize it's just Caucasians there, and you feel uncomfortable. Instead of going to Winco, you want to go to Target or Sprouts, and it's a bunch of Caucasians there, and you feel uncomfortable because the more you better yourself here, you just realize it's just always uncomfortable. And I get it, but this is the patience of the saints. Here's the faith of it. Here's why we do what we do. Here's the justice that we will receive. The justice is they led us into captivity, they will be led into captivity.
Right.
The justice is they killed us with the sword. Christ and 200,000 angels are going to come kill them with the sword. Right. You can read that all up and down Obadiah. That's why Obadiah is one of my favorite prophets. He came in and just dropped one chapter and let you know what time it was.
He was straightforward.
Straightforward. The white man is the devil. That was the gist. He didn't care about nothing else, just to let you know what the Caucasian man was, what the oppressor was.
Right.
If I may, Isaiah 14:1, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob through all your trials and your tribulations and the things you go through. The Lord still will yet choose Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. He's going to set us in our own land. This is the justice. This right here is what the Jewish man read and stole from us. The Lord didn't set them in that land for that. He set them in that land because he knew they were thieves. They stole that land during Harry Truman in the 70s, I believe, or the 60s. That's not their land, that's our land. But the Lord say, and he's going to set us in our own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. The strangers will be joined unto us. Why? The same way we've been joined unto them to build up our kingdom. That is what they're here for. Their job is to build up our kingdom. Streets will be paved in gold and rubies and diamonds and whatever other things you know of, great stones that you know of. Their job is to build it. We're going to work them. You just be patient. Justice is coming. But how do you get justice? We're going to wrap that back to the beginning of it. You have to be a just person. Only a just person of the Lord will receive justice. Right. Only a perfect man of the Lord will receive justice. You have to be just and perfect. How do you get there? Romans 7:12. Through the law, through the commandments. They are the only things that's holy, just, and good. The Lord saw all the evilness going around Noah, and it vexed Noah. Imagine you the only righteous man. Everybody else want to go to the club and have sex with the whores. You say, nah, I'm good. I don't want to have sex with her. Everybody else is doing drugs. You say, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do drugs. Everybody else is doing everything wickedness on the place of the earth. And he doesn't even have brothers with him. He's not even lucky to be in the ISUBK with brothers that can go through that and sisters that can go through that same travails with him. He's by himself, and he's the man of the household, the head of the household. And he's keeping his household in order, and everybody else on the planet is doing wickedness. Mm-hmm. And the Lord said, hey, I'm going to save you. The Lord is doing that now. He put Noah in his own land and his sons. The same way, nothing new under the sun. Everything you read now, it happened then. He saved Noah, set him in his own land, and his family populated the rest of the earth. What do you think will happen to us? It just says it right here, Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. Right. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. We're going to put them in their place. They have to be put in their place. For so long, they've been out of place. For so long, they've been on top of us. For so long, they've been in a place where this is how you know they're not supposed to be on top of us. Because everything is falling.
everything is failed. You're out of place. It's just like you having a household, young woman leaving the household. That household is gonna break because it's just out of place. Imagine your children running the household. The household is gonna fail because they're out of place. The Lord wants everything to be. It's a scripture. I forget what it said. Everything in decency and in order. Everything must be in decency and order. The world is out of place. The hands have been given. The world has been given into the hands of the wicked. Mm-hmm. This place is out of place. And it's up to us, the righteous and just people of the Lord, the sheep that hears the voice, the one body in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, one West under command of Journey Yohana. It's our job to put the earth back in its place. How are we going to do that? By serving the Lord. Mm-hmm. By serving the Lord. The Lord is going to give you justice. I know it seemed like it's just never going to happen. You caught a glimpse of justice in Alabama. You caught a glimpse of it.
And it was going crazy with that. The whole world seen it.
Now imagine that on a larger scale. Imagine when it's not going to be 15 black brothers beating up 6 or 7 oppressors. There's going to be 200,000 black and Hispanic brothers and Native American brothers beating up on oppressors. That is justice. And that's the justice you deserve, and that's the justice you're going to get. But the only way, again, to get that justice is by serving the Lord.
Right. So I'm going to read, I got it real quick. I'm going to read a couple of quick scriptures real quick, and we're going to wrap it up. So I'm going to read right quick, Micah 2:10. So this is the book of Micah chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye in the, actually, no, it's like it. This is Micah 2:10. No, 2:7. So can you read that book?
The book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 7. O thou art named the house of Jacob. Is the spirit of the Lord straightened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly?
Is this the one that I want? Let me see.
Yeah, I can break that down if I may.
No, this is not. It is Micah 2:10. Slack.
10? Yeah, arise.
Slack. I'm tripping.
The book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction.
Let me get 2 Peter 3:8.
Sir.
All right, so I'm gonna read this real quick. I'm gonna break that down. Like what the brother was talking about earlier, this is not your place of rest because it's polluted. Like that's why going back to when the Jewish woman was talking about the psychological and emotional security that the Jewish community, they're not really Jews, but they're really Amalekites, but the so-called Jewish people today,
right?
They got their justice. That's really what it came down to. They got their justice, so they are at rest.
Right.
They can go live in a different country, but they know as a people, I'm good. Right. Even though they know that there's people that don't like me, I got my justice. I'm at peace in my heart. We as a people, we're not at peace yet.
Right.
We have all this money. We still not at peace. Think about it. You see all these celebrities today, all these people who have all this money, and they still talk about people are still racist against me. I still got to go through this. White man did this. White man did that. Then you still complain. It's not good enough. It's not good enough for us. It's not good enough. We're not satisfied because this is not our place of rest.
Right.
Not just in America, but our time period as a people right now.
Right.
This is not our time of rest because we're still, what's the word? We're still restless.
Right.
Because we know that we still never got justice for what happened to us.
Right.
Yes, these other countries might have apologized. That ain't good enough. Because guess what? The people who put us in this captivity today, they're still roaming around free.
Right.
People say, "Oh, well, I'm a white person. I didn't own slaves. I didn't own slaves." The thing is, you are a byproduct of slavery because you still thrive in a systematically racist system that puts people that look like me and this brother down and who lift people like you up. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying every white person is a millionaire. I'm not saying that there aren't homeless white people. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying as a people, not individual, as a people, you are doing better. Matter of fact, y'all outnumber us in this country. How is it that Europeans outnumber natives in a land that was given to the natives? Think about that for a second. So let me get 2 Peter 3 and 8. Oh, shut up.
The book of 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 8.
Go ahead.
But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise.
So focus on that, right? The Lord is not slack concerning his promise. He promised that a land would be given to us if we hearken unto the voice of the Lord. He promised that we will be brought up out of captivity if we listen to the Lord. Like we read earlier, that those who leadeth into captivity shall be put into captivity. Right. The Lord does not forget. Keep going.
The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness,
right?
But it's long suffering to us, Lord, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. Verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night.
The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Keep going.
In the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
This is talking about that third woe again. Keep going.
The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up.
Shall be burned up with what? With fire. With fire again. This is what this is talking about. But it's not like a fire meaning like just about to catch on fire out of nowhere. That's not what this is talking about. This is talking about nuclear warfare. This is talking about the war. You ever heard the term casualties of war?
Casualties
I heard that before. Casualties of war. This is what's going to happen to Esau's nation, to other nations.
Right.
Because the Lord is not at rest either, because he never got justice for his people.
Right.
All the horrible things, like you said, the land was given unto the hands of the wicked. The wicked still rule. The earth will never be at peace as long as Esau is in rulership. So you got to break them down. All these things, the Lord is doing this. This isn't, don't look at it as, Russia is, they're going to be the superpower. They're doing it. No, the Lord, like it said, he's setting fire to Magog. He's making nation rise up against nation, because this is how the Lord works. The Lord's not a genie. This isn't like you rub a cup or a bottle or something, and then you snap your fingers and then you Thanos that mess. That's not what happens. No, the Lord is going to make others work for him.
Right.
He'll rise up a nation and be like, you know what? I'm gonna make you fight them. And then y'all are going to side with each other. You're going to go destroy them so that my people can get up out of there. All these things have been prophesied over and over and over again. It's just now you're slowly but surely starting to see it take effect now. That's what's starting to happen now. That's why all of a sudden, I swear y'all Hamites, now all of a sudden Africa is, y'all come over here now. We would love to have you here. Of course you would love to have us, because like you already said, you recognize our skills. You understand that if you have us, just like other nations, just like Egypt, just like the Midianites, just like Persia, just like all these other nations that have Israel in captivity, you know that I have God's chosen people over here. Or we set every nation recognize that in their spirit. So that's now after all these years, you're welcome to come to Africa with no visa. What was stopping you before? We brothers, right? We brothers. You look like me. So, we brothers, right? That's why they say skinfolk ain't always kinfolk. There's a deeper meaning to that. It's not always just with your nation, but just because somebody's dark skinned doesn't mean that that's your people. Go ahead.
You're an idiot. You're ignorant to think we're ignorant because we say we're not African. You're ignorant to think you are African because they're black or they're dark skinned people. East Indians are dark skinned people, but I don't see you out here talking about you East Indian. Look, I've been to the Middle East. I've seen them all: Kuwaitis, Iraqis, Afghanistanians, Iranians. Yeah, they dark skinned people too. I don't see us saying we do.
Exactly.
I don't see it. You're an idiot.
If I could, real quick, Salaki, could you give me Isaiah 14 and 16? I knew I missed something.
Come on, sir. I'm already there. 14 and 16.
Yep, Isaiah 14 and 16.
I'm there. The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 16.
Go ahead.
They that see thee. Oh, can I start it? Oh, Slacky.
Go ahead. What do you think?
Damn, that's a good one. I will just do 16 because that's a long breakdown. I'm definitely bringing that at camp. I started 16. Go ahead. The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 16. They that see thee
shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners?
Who do you think that's talking about? That's talking about the nations that rule over you. It's really Esau, but it's really, you could really use that for any nation that is ruled over us. Because think about it, it happened with Egypt.
Right.
Egypt had Pharaoh, who was so haughty and kept hardening his heart, even though the Most High told him multiple times, like, let my people go. Like, you just let my people go, you know, y'all good. But again, going back to what I was talking about before, every nation that was a superpower had us in captivity because they knew that if I had God's chosen people on my side, that's it.
Right.
I'm going to make them serve me.
Right.
But then, just like what happened in Egypt, just like what happened to Persia, just like what happened to the Midianites, just like now what's happening to modern day America, Babylon, the land of confusion, it's going to come to a time. You know what? Scratch that. I digress on that one because it's not going to come to a time. It's already happened. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Because now there's people like even us, even Israel, looking at like white people now, like we question, like, damn, how we lose y'all, bro? Like there's Native Americans, like we had home field advantage and we lost to y'all. Y'all are idiots. Like the things that y'all do, like y'all pollute the land everywhere you go. You will rob. Like if it wasn't for the Most High, the earth would already be dead. Right. There would be no humans. I stand firmly on that one. Because all you do is just rob, rape, and murder. That's what you're known for.
Right.
And that's not racist. Because even other nations are recognizing that. The South Africans and the West Africans, they recognize that. India, they recognize that. Russia, they recognize that. China, they recognize that. South America, they recognize that. The whole world, the whole planet recognizes like you are the devil that the Bible speaks of. Except who? Except who?
Except who?
You say except who?
Israel.
Oh yeah, except Israel. Now they start to. Now it's raising question like, y'all the people that rule over us? Going back to that scripture, it's like you like the same people that didn't bathe properly.
You run the earth.
The same people that brought diseases. Y'all were dying during the Black Plague. I don't know if people know that history.
Right.
There was a time where like the Europeans were so dirty. This is not racist. You two don't flag me. There was a time where Europeans were dying of diseases. Wait, this is before they even came in contact with us. They were dying of diseases. And for some reason, they couldn't formulate the idea like, maybe we should bathe. Maybe we should just clean ourselves. Maybe we should wash our hands before we eat. Maybe we shouldn't be letting the chickens and the pigs and the livestock run around the house and live with us. And doing all that. Maybe we should stop doing that. No, you want to know what you thought? You thought, let's put some perfume on
to cover it up.
Like the plague doctor mask?
Yeah.
They just wore that. They just wore that because in their mind it is, oh, it's in the air. If I wear this mask, then I'll be fine. I'll be free of whatever airborne disease. Dog, you the disease. You're dirty.
Dog,
you're not Salakia. You're the disease.
Right.
You're not bathing. You're not clean. That's why when you came over here, you introduced measles and smallpox and chickenpox and all these different diseases to the Native Americans and to us. That's what happened. We was clean. We were clean people until we came in contact with you.
Right.
And guess what? Us and the Native Americans, and the so-called Latinos, as you know of today, taught Europeans how to bathe, how to properly farm, agriculture, how to live off of the land. You learned that stuff from us, and then in return, you made us your slaves. So that's why going back, that's why this scripture is so heavy. Salakia. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth tremble? You're the conquistador.
Right.
You're the conqueror. You're the Spaniards and the Portuguese and the French and the Dutch and the English and the British. You're the people that conquered the planet. And we really sitting here like, how in the hell did we lose to y'all? But then, of course, you go through history and you realize, the Most High wasn't on our side.
Right.
Because we chose to go against the Most High. We were too we were too ignorant, we were too optimistic, and we were naive. That's the word I'm looking for. We were too naive, and the Native Americans they welcomed Europeans. Like, oh, this is nobody's land. This, you're free to come in here. We were so hospitable, and they killed you. And then as us, even through slavery, we were still like, we were trying to prove to these devils that had us in oppression that we were the nice people.
Right.
Remember, Martin Luther King at one point was talking about let's just show them that we're a peaceful people.
And they beating the hell out of you.
Beating the hell out of us. Like, they used to tie a rope to the end of our foot and drag us in the street, hose us down, tar and feather us, bomb our schools, bomb our hospitals. Everybody knows about the Tulsa massacre. Right. There's actually, I believe it's 60 other predominantly black cities in America that were annihilated.
Right.
So we went from, we don't like y'all, to, let's just prove that we're friendly, to, okay, cool, y'all don't like us, we're just going to go do our own thing, to now y'all upset because now we reached the era where we're like, man, we tired of y'all. Like, F y'all. Now it's like, you guys are so racist. It's like, no, we calling out history. We calling out what happened today. I just did a whole slide. We're going to end in a second, but I just did a whole story. This was a sister. Her name was Jessica Ross, and her husband was named Travion Isaiah Taylor. Long story short, this happened in Atlanta, and they went to they were expecting a child. They go over there.
Oh man, that's it.
Yeah, and it really like I'm gonna keep it above with you, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I read it, and I really had to sit down for a second because I was gonna admit it. I got teary eyed. I'm gonna be honest. I got teary eyed because it was just like, how in the hell does this happen? And I'm gonna tell you right now. Long story short, this sister goes into labor, and what ends up happening is the baby. She's having complications of getting the baby out. The baby ends up getting stuck in her vaginal canal, and what ends up happening is, you can go read it for yourself. It's slaggy. The doctor, who was also a black woman, which makes it even worse, somehow was so negligent. She's tugging on the baby's head, because the baby comes out head first. She's tugging on the baby's head to force him out. She put so much force tugging the baby's head, she decapitated the child's head. Hold on, it gets worse. Not only does she do that, there were multiple nurses that were involved with the procedure. Nobody put a stop to it. Then they did a C-section, which was crazy because the sister, Jessica Ross, she wanted a C-section beforehand. They denied her because she already felt like she was going to have complications with the child. After the baby was already decapitated, she doesn't know. She doesn't know yet. And a lot of times they want the father to stay outside.
Right. They got the sheet.
Yeah, they got the sheet. So they put him outside. Then they do the C-section. They get the baby out. They lie to them, and they deny them trying to see the child. All they know is that the baby's passed away. They're under the impression that the baby, died after childbirth or whatever. They were denied seeing the child's face. The hospital got the body of the child, got the head of the child, and propped it up and wrapped it up tightly so that you couldn't see, but it looked like the body is still intact. The hospital also told them that it's best that if you cremate the child. They were trying to cover it up. So then what happens is they're about to go to the funeral home because they didn't want the cremation. They end up finding out that the baby was decapitated. The baby was decapitated. Then, to cover up their own tracks, not only do they file, the sister and the brother, they ended up filing a lawsuit, as they should. The hospital, I can't look it up right now because we're about to end, but my whole point being is, it's in Atlanta, Georgia. I forgot the name of the hospital, but long story short, the woman's name is St. Julian. And they tried to deny that woman was an employee at that hospital after they filed a lawsuit so that they didn't have any accountability. But if you Google, I have it right here, Salakia. I have to read it out real quick. It's real quick, Salakia. Because to this day, it still don't sit right with my spirit. Because it's amazing that you would allow for something like this to happen. Here's her name, Dr. Tracy L. St. Julian Fisher, in Riverdale, Georgia. And it says right here that she's an obstetrician, in Riverdale, Georgia, and is affiliated with Southern Regional Medical Center. That's where they went in order to have the baby. They tried to lie and say that she didn't work there, pretty much. Right here, Southern Regional Medical Center denies allegations in lawsuit filed by a Georgia couple claiming their newborn was decapitated during delivery, says the doctor is not an employee at the hospital. But when you do a quick Google search, she's an employee at the hospital. My whole point being is this is not your time of rest, because when you do the statistics, black mothers, their mortality rate during childbirth is 2.6 higher than white women. And due to that is because of this proven fact that they are denied certain health care, or the doctors are more negligent to black mothers. And on top of that, Salakia, on top of that, the black infant mortality rate is higher as well. Salakia, I have it like right here. Where is it? Right here. Black infants. An infant death occurs within the first year of life. During 2017-2019 average, the infant mortality rate per 1,000 live births in the United States was highest for black infants, 10.8, followed by American Indian, 8.4, Hispanic, 5, it's all Israel that are the highest. Take that into perspective. And then, black infants are 3.8 times more likely to die from low birth weight complications, and black mothers are more likely than white mothers to receive late or no prenatal care. During pregnancy, the mother's health environment affects the outcome of the pregnancy and the infant's health. We already know that. But it's already been proven that they are denied. They're denied. This is not your time of rest. This is not your kingdom. This is not your salvation right now. So what you need to do right now, we're going to keep saying it, you need to get your behind in class. Don't be one of them people that continues to, you watch our classes, but you don't want to get in class. Esau's end is near. It's already happening. These rumors of war, we at war. It's just more of a financial war right now. You don't see the missiles and bombs yet, but in other countries, they see it. You see what's happening in Ukraine. You see what's happening in South Africa. You see what's happening in Russia. You see what's happening in China. The powers of the world are getting together, and they all got one common enemy. It is Esau. So you got a choice. I'm gonna wrap it up with this. You got a choice, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You can either continue to go on about your day ignorantly and, pretend that nothing is going on in the world and remain ignorant and blind yourself with a bunch of nonsense. And you can die with America, because it's going to happen. Or you can get into the ISUBK under Commander General Yohana. This is what you would call it today, modern day Noah's Ark in a sense, because we are the crazy Hebrew Israelites that go out and preach the word of God. The scripture said be a fool for Christ, right? So yes, we might be a fool to you, but you really the fool, because you really think that you live in this bubble where nothing can happen to you. You might not have access to your bank tomorrow, and you are broke, and there's nothing you can do about it. You might not be able to go to a different country. I know there's a lot of people like, I need to go to a different country. I'm tired of America. You might not be able to go to a different country tomorrow. There's going to be a time where war is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, a year from now, 5 years, I don't know. But it's coming. It's going to happen. Because God is making it happen, because he wants justice for his people. But like how Noah did, we read in Genesis, he did all of what the Lord commanded him to do.
Right.
Not some. Because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a real interesting experience for you when Christ come back and you got a blunt in your hand. Because you couldn't put it down. You couldn't stop killing. You still couldn't stop child molesting. You couldn't let the pornography go. You couldn't let the Edomites go. You couldn't let all the wickedness go. And now it's going to come a time where destruction of America is going to come. And guess what? You're going to die with America.
Right. The book of Revelation, chapter 22, verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city.
Last chapter of the Bible, verse 14, with only 7 verses to go. Follow the Lord, man. That's it. How do you learn to follow the Lord? By coming to Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We've been telling you since 1969 that World War III is coming. We've been telling you since 1969 that this place is going to burn. And you're seeing it in his face. You're seeing it happen right now. You choose not to believe it, don't worry. You get caught up in it. You get caught up in it. That is why we're here. We are watchmen, according to Ezekiel 33. We here to save your life. Brothers tired. Brothers be sleeping. Brothers got things to do. Brothers got wives. Brothers have children. Brothers want to take a break, but we can't. We have to teach you. We have to teach you that one day you might can come in here and you can teach somebody. Please get in class, man.
I hear you. That's all we got for today, right? So, Tawada, as usual, for everybody that did tune in, and if you are tuning in and you're not in class, I suggest you get in class. I'm telling you, there's going to be a time when we're not here. There's going to be a time. It's coming.
Right.
The end. Think about it. Like, y'all so used to the stuff. I don't want to go on a rant because I will slap it. Let me just wrap it up. Slap it. My whole point being is, like the brother just said, get in class. Get in class. We at Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge started out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Command General Yohana. And we are the only home of the truth.
Right.
You don't believe me? I mean, you can go see a fake Israelite group if you want to. You'll learn real quick that they do not have the truth.
You can put on that purple and get pistol whipped.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. Right. But with that, to water for everybody that tuned in, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. We are trying our best to save our people while we can, because we know that Esau's time is short.
Right.
There might be a time me and his brother might not be able to do Sabbath.
Right.
Because we ain't gonna have no internet connection.
Right.
You know, that sky gonna crack open and y'all gonna look at us and oh, them crazy niggas was right. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you. Hey, y'all thought World War III wouldn't be on the horizon, and it was happening. I'm gonna leave it at that. So with that, to water for everybody that tuned in, that shalom.
Shalom. That was a good class.